Good morning, YouTube. It's your girl Ray. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. We are documenting this road to the next show day for my next bodybuilding show in Bikini. If you watched my last video, you guys know that I am just now under 6 weeks out from the Arnold. It is Sunday, so we were 6 weeks out on Thursday. So we are now getting to that 5 week out mark, which is crazy how time flies. I feel like I just did that video yesterday and it's now Sunday. I am up and at it. We are snowed in here in Nashville, Tennessee. We've had a bunch of snow and ice and sleet, so it is not pretty outside. But luckily for me, I'm coming off of some recovery days, so I don't have anything in store that requires me to go out the house today. So no gym, no training, but we have been keeping up with Coach's plan for us this weekend. Very low amounts of cardio and high intensity work. So we are just crossing off all of the things on our checklist. Besides that, I did my short bits of cardio over the weekend. Today we only have 20 minutes to do, so I'm just sipping on my little coffee over here, and then we're gonna hit my home elliptical for 20 minutes, and then in between we'll get our normal steps in. Now typically I would find other ways to do that, whether it's walking around the store or getting a walk done after the gym on the treadmill, but it is just not safe to go anywhere out here. But luckily I do have a walking pad as well. I will be hopping on that thing a couple of times today, brisk 10 to 15 minute walks here and there to just make sure I'm keeping up with my normal amount of steps, especially given that we're just lower activity these last few days. We are kind of going through a little mock peak week, if you will. So I have been carbing up slightly the last couple of days. So food has been bumped up, an increase in calories, which has been super nice for the mental. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on today. Not too much, but as you guys saw, just did my little morning routine, little physique check, a little posing, some rounds to do, just keep up with that posing endurance and just kind of see how we're looking in the morning in our fasted state. Even though I'm not checking in with Coach until tomorrow morning, I usually still like to get some posing done first thing in the morning, just as some self accountability and just to collect some data. So take all the pictures, all the videos, guys. It will be so worth it when you look back on it, especially when you have prep brain and prep goggles like me, and you literally pick your body apart every second of the day. You might think you look bad at the moment, but in 10 minutes, you might look at a picture and say, I don't even look that bad. Really, that is the main reason I do it, and it is always helpful. Got those check-ins done, coffee is made, going to hop on my elliptical for 20 minutes of cardio, probably put some music on the TV, and just really set the tone for the day since we don't have much going on. Really still want to feel like we're being really want to feel like we're optimizing our energy and all of the stuff we have to do for today. Really want to feel like we're optimizing the time that we have, given that we are just in the house for the day. So we still want to make sure we are utilizing the energy for the right reasons, and then we can just kind of chill and enjoy this snowy Sunday. I do plan on doing a second piece to this video this time, something a little different. I feel like I've been doing a lot of reflecting for this particular prep, and this will be my third prep. And you know, being that this has been my best prep so far, it's forced me to really think back and think about all the things that I've learned and all the things I wish I knew coming into this bodybuilding journey. I was like, you know what, I think that I want to kind of put out there things that any first-time competitors might not think about when they get into this journey, whether it's good or bad. And there's honestly, I don't see it as many bad things in this journey, but you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You just never know. I'm gonna talk to you about 10 things they don't tell you about bikini prep that everyone should know. Stay tuned for that because we're gonna get into that a little bit later. For now, we got shit to do. So I will see you guys after cardio. all showered up, feeling a lot better. Got that cardio out the way nice and early. So I'm about to go ahead and make a meal. And then I have some client work to do. I got a few check-ins to get to with some of my lifestyle clients and my online clients, all that good stuff. It's Sunday, so perfect time for work. That's usually the day I do all of my administrative stuff, update client plans, go over any other upcoming things for my posing business. So, while we're on that topic, if you guys are interested in any sort of online coaching, whether that is lifestyle, contest prep, posing, feel free to hit me up. I will drop the link in the description box for you guys to inquire, and we will connect and get to know each other. So I'm very excited to take on some new people this year in 2026. We got a lot of good things in store for all of the clients under moi. So feel free to reach out, ask all the questions, and we will make sure that we are connecting and getting you to the results that you specifically want. But anyways, we're going to eat, get that work done. I'm probably gonna just chill for a few. And like I said, got a few steps to get in throughout the day, but being that we just did our cardio, I'm showered up and feeling like real good. So I'll probably just relax for a bit, and then we will make sure we're up and at it for the rest of the day. Typically what I like to do is I'll eat a meal and then I'll walk for about 10 to 15 minutes after that meal. That way it's not quite sitting in my stomach, and just get things moving along. Again, really improving with the digestion. So I just love that tactic because it allows me to prioritize that, but also make sure I am getting those steps in. So it's just a good marker to utilize as a kind of non-negotiable thing in my head, so I know it gets done. So super easy to just check off the checklist there. But like I said, we just did cardio, so I'm not too pressed to do a lot of walking after this first meal. So I'll just get some work done in the meantime, and then we'll probably get some steps in once we get to that second meal. So yeah, that's what I got right now. I'm gonna eat, and then I will talk to you guys shortly. Okay guys, we back. So we just finished up work for the day. Been on and off this walking pad throughout the day. So we got our dues paid. So yeah, perfect timing for us to get into these top 10 things in my brain that I feel like every competitor should know coming into their first prep. Like I told y'all before, this is my third prep overall. However, this will be my 8th show. So each prep is different. You might want to do one show your first prep. You might want to do multiple. My recommendation is to do as many shows as you see fit and as you can. But keeping in mind some of these top 10 things, I think will help you determine what your first season will look like for you, what you want it to look like, how many shows you want to do given these circumstances, all in which I wish I knew coming in. Again, no regrets. I'm so glad to have all of the experiences that I did leading up to this point, because at the end of the day, it taught me literally so much, gave me so much experience, and so much so that I get to pass on these little nuggets to you guys and help you determine what might be best for you in your season. Hey, even if you're not brand new to competing, it might be your next season, your second one, or whatever the case may be. Things that you hear me say that really resonate with you. And if there's anything else you guys can think of and want to chime in, feel free to drop them in the comments. And I feel like this video is in high demand, so it might be a part 2 in the works, because I was thinking of so many other things too, but I didn't want to drag this one out for you guys. So we'll just get right into it. All right, number 1, y'all. Competing is expensive as hell, okay? Expensive. The finances can be through the roof sometimes, and I'm not even talking about the obvious stuff. I feel like most people by now, if you have an idea of what bodybuilding entails, you kind of know of the bigger costs already, like paying for a coach, show fees, things like that. And then of course there's the suit that you have to wear if you are a lady. You are likely going to spend between $400 to $1,000 for your bikini. And that is not an exaggeration. It all just depends on the type of suit you want, the company you buy it from, and we all know that we're gonna want the suit that flatters us the best on stage. So whatever that looks like for you, just know it's gonna cost you $1 or hundreds. But then there's the hidden fees that people don't talk about, the things that come up throughout your prep journey that you might not have thought of when you first started. Sometimes you're too deep in to just backtrack now, but these are definitely little things that you want to prepare for going into your first season. I always recommend thinking about all these little things that possibly could come up or that are inevitably going to come up. Write them down and set out a budget before your first show. Think about that timeline, not only how long it's going to take you to get lean enough for a stage, but how long it's going to take you to save up this money to be able to have a successful show day. One of those things being registration for the actual show. Yes, we pick out a show, we're so excited. In some cases, you might even pick a show that is out of your state. It'll give you an excuse to travel. But what you need to look up before you register for that show is how much it actually costs to be in that show. Some areas and some promoters have different fees for different shows. For example, a show in California, registration typically is $200 and above, and that's $200 per class. And usually your first season, you're going to likely be in multiple classes in your first show, just because that is the only opportunity you'll get to do the most classes that you want. For example, brand new competitors, you will get to compete in True Novice, which is the most entry level division you could possibly do, because once you compete once, you are not allowed to do True Novice again because you're no longer a True Novice. So most people in their first show are going to enter multiple classes like True Novice, then there's Novice. If you haven't placed first before in your class, you are able to enter into the Novice class. And then there is the Open class, which anyone can enter into, all ages, all types of competitors, you can enter into the Open division. And then depending on your age and the show, what types of classes they have, some shows have master's classes, which typically start at 35 and up. So if you're of the age of 35 or older, you can also enter into not only all of those other classes, but into the master's classes as well. And in some cases, there are shows that even have teen classes or junior classes, which age groups can vary from obviously teenage or, in your 20s. So depending on what you want your first show experience to look like, you need to be prepared to pay for those classes at that show. Then not only is there the registration fee, but each year that you are an NPC competitor, and obviously I'm strictly talking about the NPC Federation that gives you entry into potentially the IFBB Professional League once you do become a pro and earn your pro status or pro card at a national show. I'm only talking about these federations. I cannot speak for maybe other organizations or natural organizations. I'm just speaking off my experience in the NPC. Every year, you're going to have to pay a membership fee for the NPC. I think now it's about $160 per year. It used to be $150, and as we know, with inflation and things of that nature, that is bound to go up within the years. Be prepared to pay your annual fee of $160 anytime you want to compete in the NPC. And even once you turn pro, if that is something in the cards for you, there is still a membership fee as a pro as well. And that is even higher, around $300 a year. And you do have to have your membership fees paid before you even compete in a show. And then we're getting into the stage glam, specifically for women. We've got hair, we've got makeup, we've got jewelry, we've got the tan. So many things add up that you just don't realize. Leading into the show, your nails and your toes. We all know that we're gonna have to make that appointment, ladies. We are exposed on stage and we know we want to look our best from head to toe. That is definitely something that you don't think of going into things. And then of course, if you're traveling to another show, you have to think about the cost of that travel. Hotel fees. Are you flying? Are you driving? And even then, the gas. food while you are away. You need to either bring all of your food with you, or you can go shopping at the grocery store once you get to where you are. Having your food available is essential in prep, no matter what point of prep you are in. Supplements, again, things we don't think of. Our protein, our creatine, our glutamine, anything that may be prescribed in your plan that your coach gives you, it's gonna cost. Those little supplements, they add up, guys. Your vitamins, all types of things. And on top of all of the daily things that you need to have for yourself, all the essentials you typically shop for on a day-to-day or a week-to-week basis. Think about all those costs on top of what you're already paying in your everyday life. You've got stage photos, videos. Most people want to document their experience in their first show. You're gonna want the pictures to look back on. You don't have to get them, but again, there's going to be professional photographers and videographers at the show. You might want to think about investing in that package. Who knows? And those can definitely run up from $200 and up for the show. And then there's those hidden things that randomly pop up that you don't expect. A walking pad for home, resistance bands for backstage. You're gonna need something to pump up backstage, get those muscles nice and full before you present them to the judges. Foam rollers, any type of body recovery that you wanna invest in, massage, just any sort of body work. Fees like that you don't think of. Extra gym memberships. I know for me, I wasn't planning to have 4 memberships, but somehow I do. And you'll realize as you go, some things just call for special attention, okay? I realized that I am on the other side of town quite often, and it could be a hassle for me to run back to the other side of town to hit my home gym to then carry on with my day. So sometimes it might require multiple memberships at places to make sure you have convenient access to the gym. Posing sessions, investing in a posing coach. Prep costs. Number 2, you're probably not moving as much as you think you are. So unless you have a super active job like a nurse or a server or even a warehouse worker, you're probably more sedentary than you realize. Prep makes you painfully aware of these things: how long you're sitting, how little you move between workouts, how important daily steps actually are, and getting this extra movement in throughout the day to ensure that you are utilizing your non-exercise activity. Prep is more than just the gym and cardio and diet. It's how long can we upkeep this activity throughout the day to ensure that we are utilizing our deficit to the best of our ability. I know me personally, I don't have a job where I have to necessarily leave my house. So I am someone who does need to forcefully think about moving throughout the day. It's so easy to get caught up in our work, guys. Like, I just sat here for a couple hours to get work done, but I had to hop on this walking pad and ensure I walked for 20 minutes in between that time. Sometimes you have to set alarms. You have to do what you gotta do to make sure that we are staying on top of these things. Just be conscious of how much you're moving throughout the day. Keep in mind whatever protocol your coach prescribes for you. I know in most cases, coaches are also giving a step goal in addition to whatever workouts are assigned to you. So if you are someone who works from home, you're likely not even getting 10,000 steps a day. So keep that in mind. You might want to invest in some form of movement while you are home working, maybe a walking pad, an under the desk bicycle, something that just keeps you moving throughout the day. I know most people like the walking pad because you can still do your work if you get a standing desk, and you can walk as you work. So that is my recommendation. It's done wonders for me. And again, that kind of ties back to those hidden fees. Like, I didn't think that I was gonna need a damn walking pad when I started this, but it has also been such a game changer in my prep and has changed the outcome drastically. Okay, number 3, I feel like no one really talks about this one. Food starts to really taste different. As calories drop, you're gonna get creative. I feel like that's just the natural evolution of being in a prep. Being that your calories are decreasing over time, you're going to find healthier substitutions or alternatives in meals that allow you to hit your macros in the best way possible. Now we're in a time where there's so many different options. You don't really have an excuse to not enjoy your diet, right? We have sugar-free options, sugar-free drinks, diet sodas, all types of things that we can use to substitute for the things we actually do enjoy outside of prep. I feel like with that said, you get so accustomed to using these substitutions that it becomes more of a lifestyle habit that anything beyond the substitutions kind of takes you aback. So if I was to go eat a normal freaking cookie after having sugar-free everything for the last 6 months, that cookie, although it may be good, it may be super rich and you may not think of it the same as before. I know for me, certain foods I can't even tolerate anymore because it's a little bit too much for my taste buds. I love my snacks, don't get me wrong. I will eat a good cookie, I will eat a good brownie, but there are gonna be some things that you find that you're not really drawn to as much as you used to be. Number 4, prep goggles are real. In other words, body dysmorphia. So this is what I like to call prep glasses or prep goggles. When you're in a prep, you start looking at yourself so much more than you probably used to. You're always in the mirror. You're always analyzing your body. What's changing? What's not? I might look softer today. I look way good today. I look terrible today. Your mind will start playing tricks on you. Like, I am not going to be on track for this show. I'm falling behind. Then you might even have days that you're like, wow, I'm killing it. I look great. I'm gonna be ready for this show. You might even think even boldly, hey, I might even win this show. Your mind is going to have thoughts of its own throughout this prep, and you're looking at yourself every day and picking yourself apart. So it's very important to have a support system with a very objective view. Keep in mind that your brain gets warped because you are literally staring at yourself every single day. You need someone to give you outside perspective and tell you what is actually real. Number 5, I cannot voice this enough. I want to scream this one through the rooftops. You need a posing coach. You need a posing coach no matter how good you get. Do not wing posing ever, and you might become amazing at posing. You still will need another set of eyes, a professional perspective, or someone to just catch those tiny details that you may not see on a day-to-day basis. There comes a point where we all get much better at posing. We all are shit when we start out, so let's remember that too. You're going to be bad at posing when you start. It doesn't matter what type of rhythm you have. It doesn't matter what background in dance or cheer or whatever you have. You're gonna suck at posing. I can guarantee it. It's okay to hire someone else to tell you what to do. It doesn't mean you aren't good. You're just a human being and you're someone that needs to get better at something that you want to improve on. Posing is quite literally how your physique is going to be judged on show day. So this is not somewhere that you want to cut corners. I promise you. All right, number 6. Bathroom struggles are real. Yes, we're going there. Okay, TMI for some, but this is just the reality, and I wish we talked about this shit some more. When food gets low, specifically fats, you're going to struggle going to the bathroom. Digestion can get super weird. There's things like constipation, bloating, feeling backed up, feeling heavy, being very irregular. Trust me, it's a thing. So you're gonna have to learn your body. More water, fiber timing, magnesium, probiotics, food timing. And sometimes, guys, it's literally just trial and error. The more you go forward with this, the more you will just learn about your body, what works and what doesn't work. And that is the beauty of prep. Things you can carry into your day-to-day life outside of a prep that you know what resonates with your body and what does not. So in other words, you gotta figure that shit out, pun intended. Okay, number 7, you're gonna have to say the word no a lot. You're gonna realize that prep might require you to say no to things like eating out, going out, partying, drinking, random social events, family outings, friend gatherings, definitely last minute invites. And that can be super hard. I know that's hard. We are naturally social creatures, so it is in us to want to connect with other social creatures, other human beings, people that we care about. Friends, family, loved ones, partners. But this is the part that people don't talk about enough. You don't have to isolate yourself to be successful. There are alternatives. You can bring your own food. Order grilled chicken at restaurants, okay? Order the grilled cooked chicken. Put water or diet soda in a cup so you don't feel out of place at a social gathering. Go to concerts, dates, family events, have all the fun, enjoy your people. In fact, I think staying social can somewhat really add to your prep, add value to it. I think in most cases, it actually makes a prep more successful because you are staying emotionally and mentally safe and sane. Some people thrive on the super strict and restricted place of prep, and that's completely fine. And hey, like that's very traditional way of looking at prep. So there's nothing wrong with that, but I do find that in today's time Others thrive with a little more balance. So all to say, neither of those are wrong. You just have to find out what works for you. Number 8, and this one I feel like literally does not get talked about enough. Not every coach will be your coach forever. And as weird as that sounds, and probably a little harsh, that is just the reality of the sport. If you think about any other sport, it's so normal to see trades and drafts and all types of athletes who are getting moved around to different teams. People in college who are getting into the draft, they're not going to be with their college coach forever. They're moving on up to bigger things, or just a different phase that is going to work better for them and align with the chapter that they're going to be in at that time. So we have to remember, in bodybuilding, it is basically the same. Different coaches have different personalities, different protocols, different strategies. They even have different communication styles, and hey, it might even come down to different costs and different pricing. So it is okay if one is not the right fit for you guys. However, that does not mean to jump ship whenever things get hard or things aren't aligning with what you originally thought it should. Doesn't mean you should jump ship at the first hard week or even the 10th hard week, or blame your coach every time prep gets uncomfortable. But if it's something that doesn't feel right, go ahead and ask. And if it still doesn't sit right with you, then we can look at other options. So just like with anything else, you're probably going to evolve as an athlete just as you evolve as a person, and so will your coach. Your coach is going to evolve as a coach and as a person over time. That is just human nature. And with that said, sometimes this means evolving your coaching situation too. So my rule of thumb, whenever you find yourself in that situation, shop around, okay? Shop around. Talk to at least 3 coaches before you jump ship, or before you decide who you might want your next coach to be. You just might be surprised at what you find out from having conversations with these people. All coaches, most coaches will give you a free phone call or consultation prior to taking you on as a client. And if they don't, then that should be your number 1 red flag right there. But I will say, most coaches out here are more than willing and happy to hop on a call with you and answer any questions that you might have about their approach. So have the consultations, ask questions, don't just go with whoever is popular. Food for thought. Number 9, you might lose some friends and people are gonna get weird, period. Some people are going to be jealous. You're gonna hear things like, why would you wanna look like that? Aren't you miserable? That's so unhealthy. You look a little sick, I'm worried. And sometimes these things even come from your family and you're just literally sitting there in utter shock. Now with that said, that doesn't mean that everyone is against you. I'm not saying that, but some genuinely just don't understand the sport, and you will likely come across this more times than not. You have to remember, when these things get to you, it is likely because these people are projecting their insecurities onto you. Doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean that they don't want what's best for you. But we have to remember that humans who are uncomfortable tend to project that uncomfortableness onto other people. So just remember that you don't owe anyone an explanation for every single thing that you do, and you have to protect your own energy. Educate if you feel like it, and then move on. And the grand finale, number 10. This is the one right here. Are you ready for this? Show day is chaos behind the glam. Let me say that again. Show day is chaos behind the glam. So when people see bodybuilding for the first time, the thing that they're likely seeing is the stage, the lights, the glam of it all, the makeup, the bikinis, how amazing you look up there in front of this whole audience and next to other amazing people who are willing to get on stage as well. But what they don't see is the chaos behind the scenes that led up to that point. So you will soon learn that as an athlete, there's so much that goes into just being on stage that day. We've talked about all of the points through prep leading up to stage day. But when that show day comes, you're gonna see things like tan everywhere, trying to pee without ruining your tan, jewelry, heels, and makeup touch-ups that you're going to need throughout the entire day. Specifically, depending on if you're a bikini athlete, you're likely going to be at the very end of the show. So most of the day is going to be fumbling around and making sure that you still look up to par for most of the day. Pump up timing backstage. We have no idea half the time, the exact time we're gonna be on stage. So finding the right time to get a pump right before getting out there in front of the judges is probably one of the trickiest things that you'll find in the beginning as an amateur. Bringing your food backstage. Obviously, this can change from person to person depending on who your coach is and what your prep is looking like, but you're likely going to need your food backstage, especially if we are at the end of the day like Bikini normally is. You're going to probably need a meal or two before getting on stage. So bringing your freaking suitcase backstage with all your shit in it to make sure that you are prepared for literally quite anything that can happen backstage. Check-ins with your coach on show day. So in most cases, your coach is not going to be able to come to every single show that you do unless you have a local coach and you're doing a local show. For many people, you probably have a coach that is online or living in a different state as you. And if you're going to another smaller show in your region, your coach may not likely be able to make it to that show, depending on what that weekend looks like, how many other athletes they have, and what other bigger shows might be going on that same week. So unless you're in one of those bigger shows, you're likely going to have to check in with your coach virtually throughout the entire day. And that is just one other thing that gets in the way of all the other 50 million things that you have to do before getting on stage. So bringing things like a tripod and your camera and setting it up everywhere you can when your coach needs to check your physique every 90 minutes to an hour. Then, of course, there's rushing between classes. Like I mentioned before at the beginning of this, you might be in different classes throughout the day. So you're gonna find that there is a little chaos between one class to another. You might, in some cases, get right off stage and then right back in line to get on stage again for your next class. So being prepared at all times, having your active listening skills on, having your ears open, and making sure you're paying attention backstage to everything the expediters are trying to tell you. And then with all that, being on time for everything. Be aware of the time your show starts, the time there's intermission, the time final starts. Every NPC show is going to have a prejudging portion, which is the first half of the show, and then a finals portion, which is the last half and where you find out your placings. Make sure you know what time you need to be backstage for both halves of the show. Specifically, the morning show, you need to be backstage likely at the beginning of the show if it's a smaller show, because things will move fast. And then for finals, you pretty much want to be there half an hour to an hour before it starts. I usually recommend at least 20 minutes before it starts, just because, like I said, if you're in the bikini division or the fit model division, we're likely going on last unless they do something crazy and do it in flip order, which I have heard of before. So pay attention to the schedule, guys. That is super essential for show day. So all that said, show day is quite literally controlled chaos. You have to control what you can't control, and you cannot stress over the things that you cannot. And all of this is just for a few minutes on stage. Literally a few minutes. I've heard of even things where people black out and have no idea what they look like on stage, me included. But every show you're gonna get better at it, you're gonna be more prepared, you're gonna be more calm, more confident, and at the end of it all, you've done something that most people won't even attempt. So pat yourself on the damn back and be happy with all the things that you've learned moving forward. You're gonna make a shit ton of mistakes in the beginning. Just know this is completely normal, and everyone has gone through this, I promise you. But like I said, I wish I knew half this stuff before I started, and that way I probably could have prepared a little bit better for my first experience. You will not regret this journey that you embarked on, and as long as you take a lot of these things with a grain of salt, but also utilize this knowledge to apply to your prep as much as you possibly can and allow it to work for you, you will be fine. All right, guys, so that's pretty much all I have for this video. I hope you really enjoyed this and took away something that you may not have had in the beginning. That's what I'm here for. So if you liked this style of video, let me know. Drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe, do all the things. And let me know of some other things that you might want to learn about or hear me talk about, whether it's prep, fitness, whatever the case may be. I am more than happy to connect with you guys and answer all the questions. So with that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and see you soon. Ciao.